And welcome, Catherine. Hopefully your internet will work this week.
Yes, all systems go so far. So there was an outage in my area that came up out of nowhere, and
Right when
naturally,
you were doing a Zoom call.
yeah, right, yeah, just as we were getting underway. So yeah,
Right? Yeah.
fingers crossed for today.
Yeah. I love your sweater. I love the cowl neck. That's very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it's winter again, so
I know, right? It's a great color on you too.
thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I know. What's exactly 65 one day and 40 degrees the next, and today it's what, 30 degrees? I don't know, crazy, right?
30 degrees and snow. That's what we love about the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
I'm downtown and it's snowing, but it's not really sticking to anything except the chairs or whatever. But
yeah, it's making a little bit slushy out there. I just came in from an appointment, and I mean, it's not, there's a little bit of accumulation, but maybe I'm getting some lake effect snow. I don't know, but
well, I was gonna say Stump just sent me a photo from up there though, and it's like Ansel Adams in our backyard up there. So
oh, lovely.
the house. So it's totally different up where you are.
Yeah.
So doesn't he go into the office on Tuesdays?
Today's Monday.
I know, but you're going back up to get him?
No, he's got the car. He'll come down.
Oh, you've been in town all weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He just went up last night. Yeah.
What?
He just went up last night. He'll be back tonight though.
Oh, you guys are socializing. You're back enjoying population density.
Yeah. So this weekend, well, Friday was Stump's birthday, and
I don't have that on my calendar. I have to put that on my calendar.
We went out to dinner with some friends and family, and then his sister and dad surprised him. We went to Mia Francesca, the original one up on Clark Street, and it was so nice.
Just north of Belmont, right? Just north of Belmont?
Yeah, and we were, and our friend Jeff, the infectious disease doctor, was there, and we haven't really been able to visit with him in quite some time because you can imagine he's been overwhelmed, and he's finally getting to a better place. Not this. I mean, they're still busy, but it's been so overwhelming and really, really difficult for him. I mean, he was kind of ready to quit.
Yeah, I can imagine, right?
It was really nice to be with people, things getting better, everybody kind of in a better place, and it was a lot of fun, and everybody laughing and talking and being together, and yeah, it was really good. It was a good sign of things to come, I think.
Nice. Yeah, well, I was actually at the grocery store on Saturday, I think. Saturday. And the last spring when if you were vaccinated, they had signs on the door that if you were vaccinated, you didn't have to wear a mask. Well, I went into the grocery store without my mask on, and I had all these people giving me stink eye, right? So this time I'm like, yeah, why don't you have your mask on, kind of thing. So that lasted for about 5-10 minutes, maybe, that I didn't have my mask on at the grocery store. So this time I was prepared, whatever, I'm going to wear my mask. Well, about half the people in the grocery store didn't have their masks on.
They lifted it in Illinois finally, right? Last week.
Right.
Last Monday.
Yeah.
February 28th. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of places still require it. So
they do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin is so different.
Yeah.
The mask mandate was dropped last July, and people who want to wear them, and people who don't, and no one gives each other the evil eye. And the times that I come down to Chicago, I'm astounded by how many people are wearing masks outside.
Right.
So that's all, because here in Kenosha, very few have worn masks outside. Inside is another story, depending on people's comfort level. But yeah, it's been a completely different world here. And honestly, I've been very grateful for that.
Well, no, that is true. We were up in Door County for New Year's, Wisconsin. And yeah, I mean, nobody was wearing masks. I think, in the restaurants, at the grocery store, I think that where we went out for New Year's Eve, I think the servers had masks on at that restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But they were the only ones wearing masks. I mean, even at the grocery store, I was really, yeah, it was a little bit of sticker shock, actually.
Yeah, it's so true when you're not used to it. I mean, Pritzker really kept Illinois locked down in so many ways, and so did Lightfoot. And here it's just been different with our governor and our, the city of Kenosha and the county. And so, I mean, then when you get further north in Wisconsin, it's completely, and it has been completely open. So yeah, it's so location driven, it seems, well, and politician driven,
Yeah,
so.
which is so wrong, right? It should politicians should have nothing to do with it, really, but
No.
oh
Yeah,
well.
back during during 2020 and part of 2021, when we traveled some by car, and at one point we spent the month of November in 2020 in Tucson, but we drove from here to Tulsa, picked up my mom and her dogs, and then drove on in to Tucson. So it was a few days, but it was really interesting. Every time we would travel that way, each place along the stop, it would change, usually all one direction and back. Every time you'd stop for gas, it was like, a completely different experience than it was, a couple hundred miles back.
And I can imagine in which way it changed too, as you go further south. Yes.
Yeah. Not just on the highway and at, the gas stations, but then the restaurants, even the same, like the Chipotle here versus the Chipotle there, like a completely, like you're in a whole different time and space, but yeah.
Like it's 2019 again.
Right, exactly. Kids running around, like overpacked, nobody wearing masks. Soccer, after the soccer game, and everybody packed in there and everywhere. And, and we couldn't eat our Chipotle by the house up by near you. You couldn't even go inside. They had a vestibule with a table set where you had to get your food from outside. So yes, it's amazing how different it would be.
Yeah.
One of the most disturbing things throughout was I went to my nephew's basketball games. They live in Glen Ellen. And so from, what was it, November, I guess, through now, well, actually through a couple of weeks ago, they were required to wear masks while they were playing sports. And I just didn't understand that. I just saw that as incredibly unhealthy for the children because they can't breathe. Their masks get wet and they cannot breathe. And I asked my nephew about it and he couldn't breathe and his teammates couldn't breathe. I mean, truly could not breathe. And so they would be masked and running around the court and they were afraid to take them down because they'd get yelled at. And yet, through the course of the game, there would be 1-minute mask breaks so the kids could breathe. And I lost my mind when I saw that and experienced that. And I wrote letters to the school about that because it was just so unhealthy for the children. And now they're not wearing masks. And they, they spoke out and they were told to be quiet and pull their masks up. And so it was, it was just, that was.
I'm not sure what the point is. If they're going to have mask break anyway, then what's the.
Bingo. Yeah. What's the point? Because they would have their mask break and that's when they would huddle.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, anyway,
shall we very confusing.
Yeah.
At dinner the other night, and we were having a discussion about all this because my friend, the doctor, he was running the COVID unit for one of the hospitals here, and he was on a morning call with the CDC every day and everything. So he was kind of, had his ear to the ground more than a lot of them did. But he, in the conversation, it came up, some family members talking about how politicized it's been and stuff. But I was saying my sister had done some research, and my doctor friend verified this, that in 1917 with the Spanish flu, the exact same thing happened. And it became political, and then people were first wearing masks, and then got upset about it, and then there was this big divide over whether to wear a mask or not. In 1917, it was like the exact same situation. So it's obviously a human nature thing, and not just the state of the country or whatever. But it was pretty fascinating. And Jeff said, yeah, that it was basically identical.
Wow.
And they didn't have the kind of masks then that they didn't have the N95 or whatever masks in those days. They just put like you see the runners with
which probably worked for the Spanish flu anyway. So
sure.
but
Anyway, anyway, let's talk a little bit about Catherine and her property management and how she's unique and
She's right there.
I can hear you. Hi.
So Wes and I were saying last week, as we were talking about you behind your back, is that one of the things that's really unique about you is is that you do manage smaller properties, which is most property managers do not. So
Right.
comment on that a little bit. You lose on every piece, but you make it up in volume or something. I don't know.
It's true. You know what? Yes. And thank you, Mary, for inviting me here. And, and thank you, Wes. It's great to be with you. It's just so much fun. And I love, we've known each other for over a decade now, and it's just a blast. So yes, I started my business in 2009, and as we grew into our work and kind of chose the way I wanted to do it. I love managing smaller properties because I get to know the tenants. I know the property well, my team knows the property well, and we're all about personal attention, getting things done quickly. We do have volume, and it is through managing a lot of individual condos and townhomes within associations. And oftentimes we get broker referrals for these properties. And the brokers naturally would like to continue leasing them because, they're bringing the relationship to me. So the broker will continue to do the leasing, which works well with my company. That's absolutely fine. And then we manage the property and the tenants once the brokerage deal is over and once the tenants are moved in, then we take over and the tenants call us directly. We either collect rent for the landlords or not. It really depends if the landlord has had something set up previously where they prefer that the tenants pay them directly. Then we just get generally 3 months fees up front. And we have everything online, of course. So all records are available to landlords 24/7. And, it's perfect. So these properties will generally have the larger property manager that manages the entire building. And then we go in and manage the individual unit. And we do the same thing with single family homes throughout Chicago. So we'll manage a single family home. Again, oftentimes it's a broker referral. The broker will continue leasing. We do a lot of high-end homes. We have many clients who are overseas, and it works out super well.
That's great.
And then, we do manage the multi-unit buildings and multifamily. We do mixed use. So we do everything for myself and my team. It just has to make sense size-wise and location-wise. We look at everything individually. We don't take everything that comes our way. It has to make sense because, again, the service is the most important thing.
Right. And you have a crew of contractors who can go in and do kind of handyman jobs and stuff like that too. Right?
Oh yeah, I have a plumber working at a property right now. We just had a major sewer backup. So I got a big sewer company in. There was an old pump system in the basement of a 1920s 3-flat, and the sewer failed. And so we had guys going in with scopes, and yeah, I have a tuck pointer who's about to start at a building. And the great thing is, as with your businesses too, it's about the team that you have around you, and you're all working together. And so I am so blessed to have my crew, and I've got licensed plumbers and electricians and contractors, and you name it, of course, anything can happen.
Right, of course.
So the way it works is a tenant will text me. Generally it's text because that's the quickest. They will text me. I'm on it immediately. And I've got, and if I'm not around, a team member, this will go through a team member. And we just get somebody within the tenant. We respond to the tenant immediately. And if it's a rush job, I'll get my HVAC guy there. If there's no heat, my HVAC guy is there that day. And I'm, again, super fortunate to have a team of people that I've worked with for years, and they go in, get it done. It's all about relationships, and it's spectacular.
I might actually have to hit you up if you know of a GC who can install a washer dryer in a condo building, but
Oh yeah, of course. Just let me know.
yeah, that's where I came from. I've got a client buying a condo, and they want to install an in-unit washer dryer, and we had a meeting with a contractor who it didn't go so well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, first of all, he told them how they overpaid for the unit. Of course, he had no idea what they paid for it.
What it's worth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, he's not a licensed realtor, so how the heck would he know what it's worth?
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's like unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna need a referral for that, I think. But
My pleasure.
yeah, thank you. And but now, so
Is
Catherine,
that up
I
on
don't,
Sheridan Road?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So Catherine, do you just kind of look at each job, and how do you decide what you're going to charge? Is it a percentage of the rent, or, I mean, you'll also find the tenants too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes. I've got brokers working with me. We find the tenants. Many of the properties my team leases.
right.
I work with brokers to,
Who
that's the thing.
want to find the tenant and take a commission or whatever, but
exactly.
when you find a tenant for a landlord, is that part of your, I mean, I guess you have to look at each case individual in terms of what you charge. And
yeah, well, generally, so when we're leasing a unit, we will charge 1 month's rent, and
which I think is pretty standard.
Yeah, exactly. And we completely vet the tenant. We do a thorough application. We do the credit. And then moving on from there, as Chicago requires, we will do the background and eviction check, and, all as Chicago requires. We prepare the lease.
Cook County now too, all of Cook County now.
Right, yes. So we prepare the lease, we do the lead paint disclosure, we do all of that. We will thoroughly vet the tenant prospect and then send everything to the landlord for their final approval, and tell them our impressions of the tenant and all of that, because the key for us is we definitely always want solid tenants.
Right.
We love to retain tenants.
Yes.
Because when there's stability in a building and a tenant stays, we as property managers, we keep our clients happy, the property owners, and then we keep the tenants happy as well, because we want them to stay. Right. We don't want high turnover in a building. It's terrible for a building stability.
It's expensive to have high turnover.
Very expensive. So so we want tenants who will stay. And then we will prepare a new lease with a rent increase every year. We'll talk with the landlord about what the market is and the percentage increase that we're recommending. And of course, again, that's the landlord's final decision. Yes, so we do all of that. And then generally, I mean, we most often, I would say, we charge 10% of rent as our fee. And then there are certain situations where that can vary. Sometimes we will charge a flat fee. So it's not, we don't do things just across the board and this is the way it is and that's it. No, it's a give and take always.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's a total bargain, because you make, well, I guess it depends on the amount of rent, but that sounds like a total bargain to me to do all that work for only 10% of the rent.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. It's definitely, you lose on every piece, but you make it up in volume.
Right. That's exactly it.
So.
And if anybody hears this and wants to go to you directly, how should they do that?
Oh, thanks, Wes.
We have a website.
We have a website. It's wsochicago.com. And always feel free to call me directly at 312-513-4099. That's my cell. You could look for properties that we have. We advertise through all of the normal channels, just by searching WSO Chicago online, and our current rentals will come up. We're on Trulia and Zillow and Facebook Marketplace, Facebook has been good for us as well. So, all the usual places that you would look for rentals.
I
Okay.
didn't know you looked for rentals. Shows you what I don't know. I didn't know you looked for rentals on Facebook.
Oh my gosh, Facebook has been very good for us. We started using it a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
There's so many rentals on Facebook. Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Kinda
Good,
wild.
good, good. Say your number one more time, your cell number.
Yes. Yeah. The cell number is 312-513-4099. And then there's a wealth of information at wsochicago.com.
Great. Awesome. That's great. Well, Catherine, that's awesome. And, feel free to join our conversation any Monday.
You. It's always great to see the two of you.
Yeah. And you do what now that your Sunday morning radio show that's not real estate related, is it?
No, it's not real estate. That is a mix of fun stuff, fun, light stuff, and also current events, what's going on in the world. Yesterday, we talked about Russia a bit, probably for a whole segment. It's a 2-hour show, so we probably talked about Russia for 30 minutes. Callers call in, and it's really
So
great.
is that like a hyper local, like Kenosha radio station or something?
I wouldn't say it's hyper local. I mean, we have callers from Beach Park. I have a regular caller from Beach Park, actually.
It's Wes. It's
Yeah,
Wes. His voice.
That would be hilarious. We have Terry from Beach Park calling regularly, and we have people from all around Lake County, because the station transmits, gosh, to Highland Park at least.
Oh,
and sometimes
wow.
to Chicago on a clear day too. So yeah, while I live in Kenosha, and of course my business is in Chicago. My business started in Chicago in 2009, and I moved up north almost 5 years ago now. It is so seamless, and it's so easy for me to get downtown. I mean, it's an hour. And sometimes in traffic, when I was living in the city, it would take that long as well to get around different
That's
places.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yep. And
So
that's one of the things I've learned about being on Sheridan Road. I can get down to Hyde Park literally, because I had a listing down there this summer. I can get to Hyde Park in 15, 20 minutes if it's not rush hour. It's getting through downtown that's always a challenge. But if it's not rush hour, I mean, I hop on the drive and I'm there in 15 minutes. It's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. We manage properties in Jefferson Park, and it's just so easy. This particular one is right off the highway. So just zoom in, zoom out. I mean, it's really awesome.
Right. Yeah. When we lived in Lake Forest, I would take the tri-state down, and it was actually quicker and easier for me to get to properties on the west side taking the tri-state than.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were neighbors when you were in Lake Forest, because that's
right. That's right.
So right.
That's
right. Exactly.
Good. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining
Thanks,
us.
Catherine.
You're welcome. Oh, it's so great to see you both. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Mary.
Have a good week.
All
You
right,
too.
bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.